Lightsabers. They look cool. Most of the time. And sometimes they can look pretty interesting. In this video, I'm gonna look at every major lightsaber in Star Wars and rank them in a tier list based on their aesthetic and the ways in which they were utilized in their respective media. But before we begin, I want to make it clear that this video isn't meant to be taken super seriously, so please don't crucify me in the comments if I put your favorite lightsaber in F tier. With that out of the way, let's rank these Oh, my phone's ringing. Hello? A special guest? The Chosen One? Well, I don't see why not. Sure, let's put him in the video.
Heyo, it's me, your favorite Sith Lord, Darth Vader, here to tell you about damiensaber. I don't know about you, but I have a terrible habit of losing my lightsaber. Sometimes it gets crushed by heavy machinery, other times my master cuts my legs off and steals it from me. That's why I use damiensaber now. Rather than going through all the hassle of finding a kyber crystal and using the Force to assemble a new one all by myself, I just order a new lightsaber through their intuitive website and have it quickly shipped to my doorstep on Mustafar. Recently, they sent us one of their Darth Maul lightsabers, and it is amazing. Not only is it incredibly accurate to the films, it has loads of features packed into it. Tons of sound fonts, the ability to change colors, simulate blaster bolt deflection, and much, much more. Not to mention, the lightsabers can connect to an app, which allows you to adjust the color and sound settings remotely. If you would like to own one of their amazing lightsabers, visit their website and use code ISAAC at checkout for 5% off of your purchase. Alright, back to you, Isaac.
Thanks, Darth Vader. And once again, huge thanks to damiensaber for supporting this channel and sending me this awesome Darth Maul lightsaber. Alright, let's get into the video. Okay, to start off this list, we have Qui-Gon Jinn's lightsaber. I really like this one. I feel like it's pretty simple, but it's also like different from the original trilogy. And this is one of the first lightsabers we see in the prequels. I like how the prequel lightsabers have a different look compared to the original trilogy. It's a good lightsaber, but I don't know if it's like one of the most eye-catching lightsabers. So I'd say it's a solid B tier, which isn't bad at all. This one is like the average good lightsaber, I feel like. All right, next up we have Darth Maul's lightsaber, and this one is an easy S tier. Come on. This lightsaber changed the game, really. Before that point, we had only ever seen lightsabers with one blade, and this one had two? Are you kidding me? The fact that this lightsaber had two blades allowed for one of the coolest lightsaber fights in all of Star Wars. This one is easily an S tier lightsaber, easily. Okay, next up we have Obi-Wan Kenobi's prequel lightsaber, the one from episode 1. It's the one that gets thrown into the big pit that Darth Maul also falls into. I think this one's on a similar level to Qui-Gon. I like the simple design of it. It looks a lot like Qui-Gon's with, you know, a few differences here and there. I don't know, I feel like I like the simplicity of Qui-Gon's a little bit more than this one though. And then in Attack of the Clones, Obi-Wan gets another lightsaber that looks exactly like his previous one, except for there's a little bit of a difference at the very top, but it's largely the same, so I'd say that it's right there next to his other one. They're both pretty much the same lightsaber. All right, we have Anakin Skywalker's Episode 2 lightsaber. I think this one's really interesting. It's like a combination of Darth Vader's lightsaber and Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber. It's got a couple elements from both of them, and I do like that. I like the reference to both of those lightsabers, and I'd say that it's a high B tier. Now this one is what we're talking about, okay? This is Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber, you know, the iconic Skywalker lightsaber. This is specifically the one that Anakin had during the Clone Wars and in episode 3. I love the button on this one. That's really the main difference between all of the Skywalker sabers. Yeah, it just looks good. I think it's a solid A tier because it's iconic. All right, we have Obi-Wan Kenobi. I also love Obi-Wan Kenobi's lightsaber. I think that I actually like it more than the Anakin Skywalker lightsaber. I just like the tips of these lightsabers. They look really cool. Okay, we've got Ahsoka's lightsabers. I like them, but I don't know if I like them as much as the rest of these. So I feel like they're definitely kind of a mid B tier a little bit to me. So I don't know. I feel like they're good, but they're not my favorite. They're not my favorite. Speaking of Ahsoka's lightsabers, I've wanted an excuse to talk about these terrible toy lightsabers that I've been seeing in stores all the time, and this video seemed as good a time as any to talk about them, so they're on this tier list. I don't know what executive is responsible for creating these abominations, but whoever they are, they need to stop. I don't know a single child who wants a lightsaber with Ahsoka's face slapped on the front of it, okay? I'm not saying that there aren't kids who like Ahsoka. I know that there are, but I feel like kids would rather have the lightsabers that Ahsoka actually wields in the shows over a weird hilt with her face on it. It also just looks really creepy, especially since the blade color's white and it blends into the top of her head, making it look like she has this giant goose egg just shooting out of the top of her skull. So yeah, these ones are going in F tier. Next up, we have Yoda's lightsaber. It's decent, it's small like him, although I feel like it could have had a little bit more personality put into it. When I look at this lightsaber, I don't know if I would immediately think, oh yeah, that's Yoda's, besides the fact that it's small. I'm gonna give it a C tier. It's not a bad lightsaber, and when Yoda's holding in the movies and the green blade is out, you don't really question it, but like looking at the hilt specifically, I feel like I would rather have a couple more things that would like hint to the fact that it belongs to Yoda. Next up, we have Count Dooku. This is one of my favorite lightsabers in Star Wars. I definitely think that it's an A tier. It's a high A tier. I love the curved hilt. It's super unique. I love the end of it. It just looks like it's just super regal and completely fits Count Dooku's personality. I feel like it is a perfect lightsaber for Christopher Lee. Next up, we have the Darksaber. I mean, come on. The Darksaber is another A tier. Just simply because of its cool blade. I mean, whoever came up with the idea for the Darksaber was certainly onto something. The way it sounds, the way that it looks, it's just super cool. It's a really cool idea. I'm really sad that they destroyed it in The Mandalorian Season 3. Next up, we have Darth Vader. I like Darth Vader's lightsaber. It's a good one. I think that it's a better version of Anakin's episode 2 lightsaber. When you look at them side to side, you can definitely see the similarities between the two of them. But yeah, I think Darth Vader's just looks like a refined version of that. So it's a high B tier to me. Similarly to Count Dooku and Darth Maul, this one matches its character really well. Actually, I feel this way about a lot of the Sith lightsabers. I feel like all of those lightsabers really matched the villains that they're attached to, and I really appreciate that. Speaking of villains, we have Emperor Palpatine. And his lightsaber is also really good. I don't know if I like it quite as much as Darth Vader's, but it does match him very well. It's super elegant. It's super fancy. It's got gold all over it. It's a great lightsaber. High B tier. All right, we've got Mace Windu. I mean, come on. It's the first purple lightsaber. This one also was fairly revolutionary when it came to the way that lightsabers looked. So for that, it gets to be right up next to Count Dooku with being one of the best lightsaber designs in Star Wars. High A tier. All right, we got the Jedi Temple Guard. These lightsabers are interesting because they usually are double-bladed. I was showing this image to my dad, and he mentioned that it kind of looks like the Pope's hat, and I can't get that out of my head. I think that it has to also be a C tier. Next up, we have another toy lightsaber. Did any of you guys have these? These were the toy lightsabers that were released in the early 2000s, where you'd push down on the button and then swing it open. They didn't light up or anything, but they were so much fun. Like, I think that I had this one, but in blue, and my cousin had it in red. I don't know. I have a lot of nostalgia for these lightsabers. Let me know in the comments below if any of you had one of these. For that reason, I gotta give these an A tier. They're just so good. Next up, we have General Grievous's 4 lightsabers taken from various Jedi. I'm gonna be completely honest, they all aren't super interesting to me. The whole point of them is just to have a cool fight scene with him and Obi-Wan. And granted, that scene is awesome, but you can tell that since these lightsabers were just stolen from random Jedi, they don't really reflect General Grievous's personality or anything like that, which is okay, they weren't supposed to. I think that I just personally prefer when a lightsaber actually matches the wielder. I don't know. All right, next up we have Savage Opress, and like Darth Maul, this lightsaber is pretty cool, okay? I think that it deserves to be in B tier. I think I put it below Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan and Ahsoka. I don't know. I think it's decent B tier, but I don't know if I'd put it higher. Just because the way that they are connected I don't know. I feel like the middle, it looks kind of like the Skywalker lightsaber in the center, and it just kind of throws me off a little bit. I don't know. Next up, we have Ventress, and Ventress is pretty good. You know, I think she's above Savage, not quite above Ahsoka for me, and they look cool. They feel very reminiscent of Count Dooku's lightsaber, which I do like since she's his apprentice, you know. Overall, pretty good. All right, next up we have the Inquisitor lightsaber. I like the idea of a spinning lightsaber. I don't like some of the things that Star Wars has chosen to do with that concept, namely the fact that Inquisitors fly around like helicopters with them. So I'm gonna put it in C tier. Still unique. I like how all the Inquisitors use lightsabers that are similar to this. Next up we have Cal Kestis's lightsaber. I love this lightsaber. I think that it's up there. It's definitely up there. I love the fact that it's broken, specifically in like all the promotional art, and how you can customize it in the game and kind of make it into your own thing. But the base version of this lightsaber is already fantastic just on its own. You know, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna put it in S tier. It's an S tier lightsaber. It looks awesome. I love just the symmetry of it, contrasting with the asymmetry at the bottom. It's just a great design. It's really cool. It's fun. I love it. All right, we have the original Luke Skywalker lightsaber given to him by Ben Kenobi. We got to put it right next to Anakin's. I do think I slightly like Anakin's a little bit more, but we'll put them right next to each other. Both in A tier. They're both very good. And with that, we have Ben Kenobi's, which is gonna go right next to Obi-Wan Kenobi's from episode 3. Okay, here's a lightsaber that I feel like does not get talked about enough, okay? This is one of the coolest concepts in Star Wars, and we never talk about it, okay? The idea of a lightsaber that's also a gun is sweet. Come on, okay. I think that this one is a high A tier. I beg, honestly, just based on functionality alone, I would almost put it at the top of A tier. I don't know. I feel like aesthetic-wise, it's not super fancy looking. So that definitely takes down some points, but I feel like I'd put it around the same level as the Darksaber for me. And now for the biggest downgrade in all of history. Ezra's second lightsaber is not a gun, and it's lame, okay? He doesn't have a gun anymore. He goes from having a blue gun lightsaber to a green non-gun lightsaber. And I do like green lightsabers, but this one, it's okay. I think Sabine uses it in the Ahsoka show. It looks pretty good in that show, but I don't know. It's an okay design. I like it more than the Inquisitors, but yeah, it's kind of a meh design for me. I don't have too much to say about it. I prefer his gun lightsaber a lot more than his second one, or his third one, which isn't on this list because I couldn't find any reference images for it, but that's okay because it looks just like Kanan Jarrus's, which is on this list and is, it's a B tier. Okay, we have Ahsoka's white lightsabers. These ones are sweet. I remember when I first saw that she had white lightsabers, my mind was kind of blown. They're really cool. I feel like these are better than her first ones. They feel more like Ahsoka. They kind of bend. They're not very traditional, kind of in the same way that Ahsoka isn't really a traditional Jedi. I don't know. I really like them, and I feel like they match her character really well. So I don't know. I think that these ones, honestly, I think that they could be A tier. Yeah, I think that they're an A tier. Luke Skywalker's Episode 6 lightsaber is one of my favorite lightsabers. I absolutely love the design. I love everything about it. It looks like Obi-Wan Kenobi's lightsaber, but perfected. Okay, so I'm putting it above Cal Kestis's in S tier. Next up, we have Leia's, and I think that Leia's lightsaber might be the best thing that The Rise of Skywalker did. I know that isn't saying too much. I really like the bronze color. I like just, it looks a lot like Luke's. They kind of echo each other, which I really like. It feels like it could fit in with the original trilogy lightsabers. Maybe it's a little bit more complex than those would have been, but I think it fits in pretty well and looks good. All right, we've got Rey's lightsaber from The Rise of Skywalker. This is also another design that I think is decent. I'm a little disappointed that we didn't get to see more of it because it would have been a lot more interesting to see this lightsaber on screen rather than the Skywalker lightsaber, which had just been broken in The Last Jedi. I like the idea that it's made from her staff that she has on Jakku in episode 7. The only thing about this lightsaber that I don't love is that it just looks a little bit chunky. It's kind of thick. And so I feel like it wouldn't be super practical, but I do like the black. And I like the leather strap around it and the fact that it's yellow. It's cool to see a main character have a yellow lightsaber. I think it's around mid B tier. It's decent. I like it. All right, we've got Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren, I don't know. Maybe I'm going to get hate for this. I really like Kylo Ren's lightsaber. I think it's an S tier. Honestly, even if it isn't super practical, I love the idea of a crossguard lightsaber. And I remember when I watched the trailer for The Force Awakens and saw it for the first time, I lost my mind. Next up, we've got Ben Solo's lightsaber, which is essentially Kylo Ren's lightsaber, but without the side vents. It's not super unique. It's a fairly generic looking lightsaber if you take away all the cool Kylo Ren stuff. So I don't know. I think I'd put it like high C tier. I think I like it a little more than Yoda's. Yeah, without the vents and like all the unique wiring and stuff that is on Kylo's lightsaber, it kind of loses a lot of the luster that made that one interesting. All right, we've got another toy lightsaber. These are the lightsabers that started getting made in like the 2010s, where like there was this system where you could kind of connect different lightsabers together. I think it's a cool idea. One thing I don't love about these lightsabers is that they suffer from a similar problem to the weird, creepy face lightsabers, in the fact that they are based on the characters themselves and not the weapons that the characters hold. Like, for example, this lightsaber is based on Anakin Skywalker's outfit and not Anakin Skywalker's actual lightsaber. Why? At least it's not nearly as bad as the creepy Ahsoka face, but like, why not just make a lightsaber that looks like Anakin's lightsaber? That's what kids want. And it's strange to me that these companies really want to make lightsabers that don't look like the ones that the kids see the characters hold in the movies and in the shows. I don't know. So this one's not nearly as offensive as the creepy face ones, but it's not great. I'm putting it in D tier. Next up, we have the Skywalker saber from The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. And honestly, I like it. I really like it. I think that it's about as good as Anakin's. I like the new switch they put on it. It's a little bit smaller than the last ones, but I think it looks pretty good. I don't know. I don't know if it quite edges out Anakin's, but it's right up there. I mean, they're just so similar. Speaking of the Skywalker lightsaber, we have the version from Rise of Skywalker. Now, when I look at this lightsaber solely from a visual perspective, I actually kind of like it. I like the leather band around it. If I'm being honest, it actually might be my favorite version of the Skywalker lightsaber. I know, blasphemy. Story-wise, I don't like that it exists. I kind of wish that it had just stayed broken after The Last Jedi. It feels kind of goofy to bring it back, but for what it is, I think that it is a visually pleasing lightsaber, and I think that it's my favorite version of the Skywalker lightsaber. Okay, last but certainly not least, we have the Lego lightsaber hilt, the last of the toy hilts that are on this list. What can I say about this hilt that hasn't already been said? It's perfect. It's perfection. It might be one of the best Lego pieces of all time, honestly. I like that this lightsaber isn't any specific lightsaber and how it looks like a bunch of other lightsabers just combined into one piece. It is the quintessential lightsaber, and for that reason, it goes to S tier. All right, that's the full list. If you'd like to make your own version of this list, I have it linked in the description. You can click on that link and go make your own tier list. Feel free to make your own video. Feel free to use this template however you'd like. Thank you for watching this silly video. I'll see you next time.